Hello, good evening and welcome to CME Sports Lighting Field. As always, my name is Dave Webb. I'm joined in commentary tonight by Dan Naylor from Brighton. His first go-round with us tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, 33 weeks since these players pulled their boots on in anger, and we're going to see a replay or a rematch of the grand final. Brighton hosting Burnside in the round one of the Coopers Premier Grade. I'm looking forward to it. Tonight also is, as well as being the Anzac Day Cup match, it is also in benefit of Soldier On. We'll talk more about that later on. We're looking forward to what should be a great game of rugby. Dan, your thoughts on how the pre-season has gone and what you think we're going to see tonight?
Mate, it's been a solid pre-season. I think everyone's ready for it. I think these two teams will definitely be ready for it. Burnside is most definitely going to be ready for it, and I can tell you our guys are well prepared and ready to go straight into it. So obviously this Anzac Day match, it's back at a time where it started. You know, we take this commemoration seriously, so we're really looking forward to it, and hope it should be a cracker.
Should be an absolute cracker. Autumn finally may be here. There is a chill in the air wherever you are. Wrap yourself up nice and warm. Sit back, relax, and watch 80 minutes of the best club rugby in South Australia. Less than a minute gone and they are inches away. Doughty will stumble, then he will hand it on. Looks how close they are, and they have gone over. Within a minute, we said Onkaparinga would come out quickly. They have, and that is the first try of the game. Watson will show and straight. Make half a yard afterwards. Now there's a pick-up, and Tanaki will go over. Tanaki will score. Burnside in red time. And again to Adcock. Adcock will find Finney. Finney will put the foot down. Finney, I think he's got over.
Gibson's made the gap. Here we go. Look at that. Yeah, good movement. Great move, just good running line. Paddy. Oh, here we go. Big gap.
For a big gap. Oh,
well done.
Well done. He tried it.
Interesting. He will turn around. Now he's going to put the toe down. He's going to take that shield. He'll go over the left-hand corner. Right, really going to push away now. Field for round one of the Coopers Premier Grade, the Anzac Memorial match. Dan Naylor sat next to me. Dan, autumn finally has decided to show up. There's a chill in the air tonight.
I'm glad I bought a jacket, Dave. Yeah, it started really nicely this morning at 8 AM. It was quite warm, but definitely a bit of a chill now, mate. But I don't think that'll make any difference. These guys will be running hot and ready for it.
Yeah, well, as I said in the pre-game, 33 weeks since these have laced up their boots in anger. 33 weeks ago was the grand final where Brighton took on Burnside at Port Adelaide. The Brighton Burnside stuff, we spoke about it on the podcast earlier in the week, or well, last week, where toss a coin between the two of them, but going into this kind of unknown at the moment.
Yeah, tight tussle all last year, and you know, Burnside had the wood over us most of the year, and we got up when it mattered. I mean, this year's a different kettle of fish. We don't know. There's been various changes between both sides, and we don't know really what they're going to look like. I mean, we've had a few notable outs, a few notable ins, so and what I'm hearing out of the Burnside camp is they're much the same. So it'll be interesting to actually see what happens, and it'll be interesting to see who comes out and see what they put up in the first half, and yeah, looking forward to it, mate.
Yeah, Burnside going through a change of coach, which is always going to be a thing. I spoke to Wayne Vincent before today. Close to a full moon tonight. Look at that, beautiful. But the field does look good under the lights. Spoke to Wayne Vincent today. There has been some changes. He's made some changes, put some stuff in from where Kev Ashby was last year. He says that the players have taken it very well. The players have taken it into their stride. Two different coaching styles. It's a coaching debut in the A grade for Wayne Vincent. He has coached at a sort of a rep level with the Australian police. He's coached the Australian police, so he's got a bit of a background behind him. Obviously, Richard Wasley carrying on from where he was last year. The same old Richard Wasley, I think, is unruffled is a great word for Richard Wasley, I think.
Yeah. Look, Kevin Ashby great coach, had a really good time there, and I really like a lot of his coaching philosophies. I think what Wayne Vincent will bring is a completely different outlook. I think if there's a comparable coach that you compare to someone who we know, he's probably more of that Brad Thorne type of character. He loves the big, hard, abrasive stuff. He loves bloke out there trying to find work. He loves blokes looking for the big hits and the big shots that can really change a game. So I think that's what Burnside might bring tonight. I'm hoping they do, because it'll be really good, because I've got no doubt that we'll bring some of that as well tonight. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see a furious pace at the beginning of this one. Just as we're waiting for the teams to come out and we're going to get underway on our Anzac ceremony, just unconfirmed results from around the grounds. Onkaparinga 66, Old Collegians 31. That's putting the marker down.
Certainly is.
Southern Suburbs 55, Woodville 22. So there's been some big scores in the Premier Gate. Division 1, Port Adelaide 55, Adelaide Uni 12, Elizabeth 45, Barossa Rams 12. So Port Adelaide will go on top on points difference, but geez, there's been some big scores in the Division 1 and Premier Grade today.
Well, I'm glad there's tries getting scored. It's good. There's usually a bit of rust early, so we can never be too compelled by it. But yeah, look, that Onka's Old Coal score line's interesting.
That's a big one. And then we go Division Premier Grade Reserve, Onkaparinga getting the Wood over Old Collegian, Southern Suburbs beating Woodville. Burnside defeating Brighton 29-5. That was the one we just saw as we got ready for today. The third grade Onkaparinga defeating All Collegians and Burnside defeating Brighton. The women, Brighton defeated Burnside 12-0. Southern Suburbs 20-0 over Woodville, because that one was a forfeit. Elizabeth 55-19 over Barossa. That's a big stamp to put down for those girls.
You predicted it.
But if you're going to talk big scores, All Collegians defeated Onkaparinga 80 points to 0.
Well, I mean, that's, yeah, not sure what's behind that one, but obviously we knew that Onkaparinga was struggling for numbers last year, and a lot of the reason why we formed a women's team once again, well, not a lot of the reason, but it helped, and a lot of the girls came down here, and yeah, look, hopefully they can get things together and turn that around to a degree.
All of the results from today are on the Rugby Union South Australia Facebook page. You can go and see them there. Basically going with the rub of the home teams, it would appear. Just trying to keep an eye on these teams coming out. I don't want to interrupt anything that goes on with the ceremony. I'll just try and fly through the Brighton starting lineup. Reese Fishwick making his debut. Prop Reese Fishwick, obviously the son of Jane Fishwick, a Brighton stalwart. She's away unfortunately today, and all handed over to Reese. He's been an absolute fabulous help to me, getting me ready and making sure that I've got everything I need. Logan Brown wearing that number 2 jersey again. Jacob France in 3. Alex Williams and Ryan France in the second row. Mitch Wench, Tom Roberts and Jack Trump in the back row. Great surname. Dylan Vanner and Joel Plummer are the halfbacks. Rob Walker and Peter Bullower will be on the wings. In the centres, Fanahoe Pieta and Tremaine Butler. That's an interesting one from Fanahoe. He played halfback quite a bit last year, and now he's going to move into the centres. And of course, Nathan Satala being the field general at the back. I had a chat with him before today, and as per usual, brimming with confidence.
Yeah, look, always a couple of new faces in there. Jack Trump, well, I reckon they're having you on there because it's not his surname, but but that's brilliant.
That's fair enough.
Look, mate, there's some guys there who there's a couple of new faces in there. So Jack being one of them, and Alex Williams, who's about 7'12". So it'll be interesting to see the impact those guys have. Dylan Vanner and Joel Plummer really stepping up back in that 10. Joel came to us last year and had a bit of a knee injury, had a solid season of second grade and a little bit in A's, but he is one of those players who looks like he's in slow motion. He's the Bernie Larkham type. He just makes things happen.
So it sounds like someone's coming out. I think that's the Burnside side, as they will come out there. They've got special warm-up T-shirts as well for this Anzac Day game. They're wearing the special warm-up T-shirts, and they've come out with some of their kids. They've got, I can't remember what it is they said, I didn't manage to write it down, but they've got some T-shirts out there. New captain this year, Blair Marshall will take over the captaincy from Alistair Walton. So there's a little bit of a change there as well. Just before we go as well, the musician from 1027 Keswick is Josh Coop, musician Josh Coop. He'll be playing the last post and all the things that go along with that. Burnside have got a mascot in the background there. They're certainly forging forward.
Sure that's a mascot or just not one of the wags?
Just
not sure, mate. There we go.
And as we come out in These are the playing jerseys that Brighton will be auctioning off at the end of it. That's a lovely looking playing jersey.
Yep. Good sponsor on the front there, Adelaide Health Tech. Very
I've
good
heard
sponsor.
they're very good.
They
is that your company?
It is, mate. Yeah, they're a fantastic organisation. No. There's my son getting out there with Peter, which is good to see, and a few of my under-7 kids there getting out, which is fantastic. Jack Trump in number 8 there, and Alex Williams in number 5. And just going back to Blair Canvas Marshall, mate, he is one of the top shelf humans getting around, mate, and a very influential player.
Big unit to have to deal with defensively. One of the interesting ones, and I'm a bit wary of going over the top of this ceremony, so we might just come back to it in the middle. We also have Lisa Kenny out there from Rugby Union SA, and we'll just step out and hand over to Roger Wills.
What a magnificent evening we've got for it. I'd like to welcome Mike Vonberg, MC, Lieutenant Colonel Paul Brown, CSM, and Barry Fawcett, RSM. Mike Vonberg will be the ode of remembrance. Thou shalt grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
So that was Mike Vonberg with the ode. Mike Vonberg has a medal.
Lest we forget. Lest we forget. Please remain standing for the Australian and New Zealand national.
luck to both sides and the charity Soldier On. Please give and enjoy the night. Thanks for coming.
So the ceremony out the way, Michael von Berg giving the ode. There is the Anzac Day medal, which is named after Michael von Berg. We expect the teams to go off and warm themselves up a little bit more. Like we said, it's a chilly time.
No, looks like they're going straight for it, mate.
No, we're going straight into it.
Straight into it.
Yeah, well, it does get the blood pumping, doesn't it? And
yeah.
The national anthem.
Great to have the kids out there with them as well during that. It's stirring at all times, and some of those under 7s and under 8s will never forget that experience, I wouldn't suggest.
So Burnside just going through, Brighton just going through some hands just to try and keep themselves warm. Burnside going into the huddle. Just fly through the Burnside lineup. Louis Fagan, Chris Walton, Aaron Totoka make up the front row. Alistair Langsford and Callum Walton in the second row. Oliver Barker, Nigel Lamsham and Blair Marshall in the back row. Joe Ashenford and Chris Hodgson will be the halfbacks. Sam Tanaki and Matt Benja will be on the wings, with Eric Maroney and Fraser Green in the centres, and Harrison Rahali into the back row. One of the big things I noticed and I wanted to talk to you about, Will Shields coming off the bench, who was damaging last year in the back row as far as his runner went.
Yeah, it could be a number of things. I mean, that could just simply be, it might be a statement from Wayne. It could just be simply that he's underdone and they want to see him off the bench. They wanted to see some time in the twos. I didn't see him in the twos, so it'd be interesting to see how we go. Jacob Devlin off the bench there as well. So, he's won a couple of BNFs in his time. He won one down here with us before he decided that he'd go over the other side of town. So, yeah, look, interesting. We'll see how that plays out.
Well, like I've said, there is a nip in the air, and I'm wearing a scarf which has been thankfully given to me by Soldier On. Go to soldieron.org.au. You can learn all about it. Basically, they will help current and former serving servicemen and first responders and anybody who works basically in those frontline services. Anybody who works in that, they'll give them assistance. Go to soldieron.org.au and learn all about that. 100 years, it says on the front. 100 years of Anzac, which is 2018.
100 years since the end of World War I.
100 years, yeah. So 100 years.
I was lucky enough to be at the in Melbourne for the Anzac Day footy on Wednesday, and heard from a raft of diggers at a function I was at, and unbelievable some of the stories that come out from these guys, and how they just got back to life after it and continued to play footy and all the rest of it.
So we're just going through the coin toss now. What I will say is that we will just keep an eye on your Facebook comments, and we'll probably talk to you at half-time. During the day we probably won't hear from us, but at a half-time we'll have a look over your comments and we'll have a chat with you if there's anything you want to talk about. That's certainly where we are. Let's see whether we can hear the result of the coin toss.
So you take the
lots of all the best, but we didn't get who that was. We'll wait and see what happens, see who comes out. Rhino this year again supplying the balls, so that's
David.
Each team will have them this year. Each team has been given the match balls by Rhino.
Great sponsor, Rhino. Neil Brown, really good operator there, and yeah, great supporter of SA Rugby. Good to have them on board.
So we're about ready to go. Looks like Burnside is setting up to receive, so we'll see Brighton kick off. One of the Brighton club members has found the microphone in the PA.
Pretty happy with that. Hopefully he's...
I think that was that sounded a little bit like Wayne Londomer, your current president.
Let's hope he doesn't have the mic.
Your current president. So it looks like we're going to start with Joel Plummer. Will be starting us off. Brighton in the mostly yellow shirts with black hoops. Burnside in the traditional double blue.
You ready?
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are underway at CME Sports Lighting Field, and that's not the way that Plummer will have liked it to start. Didn't go 10, so we're going to start with a scrum right back in the middle. So, early look at how the forwards have travelled in pre-season.
Looking pretty fit, both packs, to be fair. Probably looking Brighton the heavier pack just on face here, but we'll be interested to see how the front row tussle goes.
Yeah, the days of massive front rowers has kind of gone now. We've got a lot of athletic forwards, and the front rowers now have started looking in a similar shape to the back row.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these back rows could probably play in the centres and vice versa. So definitely a more dynamic game than it used to be.
So Burnside, solid first scrum. They'll look out to the right-hand side, met by Fanahow in the middle. Go forward is there. Ashenford will find Walton. Walton will gain a couple. Again, Burnside just looking one out at the moment, just looking to make yards, and are making yards past the gain line. Now they're going to try and spread it, but that's...
Mistake there.
But it looks like it's been allowed to play on.
Good counter by Jack.
Jack Trump, it's not Trump apparently.
Let's just go with Groves, I think.
Groves, we'll go with it.
They
just wanted to hear me say Trump a lot, I think.
One, mate.
Yeah. Another little
That's
bobble there, early
hit.
season. And Groves, I think, looks like a ready-made replacement for Jack Cook.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jack's played some pretty heavy rugby in the UK at a decent level. So I'm really excited to see him go around this year.
Again, Burnside just having a nibble down that right-hand side. Looks like there's been a turnover though, and Brighton now will get away. The miss-out path to Bullower. Bullower will step away, and he's away down that right-hand side. He's got one cover in Ashenford, but I don't think Ashenford is going to get there. Bullower will get the first 5 points of the 2018 season live on Spacequake Sports. Ladies and gentlemen, Bullower just stepped out of that first tackle, then put the foot down, then worked his way down the wing.
Yeah, look, when he gets that much space, there was no way he was ever going to be stopped there. This bloke's electric. Really good to watch. And just look at that step.
Just a little stop and go. I'm not sure exactly what Tanaki was asking for. Maybe a forward pass, but with the turnover and the quick ball movement, and he just got on the outside, Tanaki was left for dead. Ashenford trying to come across, and all he could do really was make the angle of the kick harder.
Yeah, look, he's played so much sevens that he just has that stop and go ability, as we see there. He just pushes off. He just knows when to go and knows when to stop, knows when to hold. Holds it up a little bit here, and then off he goes. Look at him, he loves it, scoring in the boneyard corner down there.
And I wouldn't suggest that there was any suggestion there.
First line out of the game. Interested to see how Brighton's defence works here. With the big Alex Williams there at 2 and Ryan France at 4. Both.
They go to the middle to Walton. Lamsam sitting in at half back, but
and he's knocked it on.
Oh, there's a knock on. So he's given a free kick outside arm, I think. It's a free kick. So they thought about going to the corner, but obviously someone has reminded them that they wouldn't get the ball back. So Walton will decide to go. Has his support there. They'll look out into midfield. Lamsam as the link holds up with the pass. Green is out there. Eric Moroney will run around the outside.
Well, he's still going, a little Argentine.
Still going. Finds his support. Now Burnside are just charging towards that Brighton try line. Now they'll look out left. Walton with an inside ball to Marshall. Marshall held up but will fight his way to ground. Burnside again looking for speed, but it's not come. There's a whistle and a penalty just for sealing off.
Yeah. Got caught there, just didn't put him quite down. He's a hard man to get down, and they just didn't quite put him away there, and he continued on. That's something they're going to have to look out for, because he will continue to go. Interesting, Brighton not committing to the breakdown at the moment, very standoffish. I don't mind that early. It's Burnside looking a little bit one-offish, but they just got a little bit of wriggle on there, and once they got that wriggle on, they got some momentum. And it only takes a couple of line breaks. And
that forward momentum is vastly important because it doesn't allow the defence to set as they would like. Harrison Rahali will have a shot at goal for 3 points, just to drag it back to 5-3. You would expect them to get this one, but as Mr. Plummer has shown early season, the radar might not be there, but the flags go up. So Brighton 5, Burnside 3. Your thoughts on the opening 6 minutes, Dan?
Yeah, I think they're just both seeing each other out. Obviously a great try, just opportunistic from a bit of space and well sought out. And there, Burnside probably could have done a bit more with that, but the handling's just been a little bit rough, as you'd expect. But let's hope. It's a good night for it. Might be a little bit cold, but it's perfect conditions. So
it's not a huge amount of wind. There is a wind, but it's not a huge amount. So Plummer will get another go. It's better than it's gone deep, almost towards the 22. Almost a Brighton hand on it. But Burnside will be able to come away. Lamsam again around the back of that ruck. Little offload into midfield, and he meets Groves. Groves with a good counter ruck, though.
Oh, I'm not sure about that.
Side entry was a bit...
Not sure about that, but
Well,
we do sometimes get these interpretations from
we trust our referees.
Carlos. We do. We do. Not always explicitly.
I don't think you ever trusted a referee when you were playing, were you?
Oh, yeah, well. Joe Eastgate, mate. He was a good one.
So Burnside will have a line-out just over halfway, right in front of our commentary position. So we'll get to see how that looks. Ball's just gone away, so a little bit of a rest. While we wait for that ball to come. The Brighton bench: Hamilton, Barnes, Jordan, Bowker, Cullen, Williamson, Stocks and Black is the Brighton bench. So Walton using the line. Comes back to him. It wasn't designed, but it gets there anyway. Walton will cross the Glane line. Ashenford at the back. Short ball. First time we've seen Burnside move the point of attack. Get quicker ball. Groves is really starting to put his stamp on the game again, slowed that down a little bit. Tanaki, he will
dangerous.
shake away from one, then he will try and run through the defender. Didn't quite see what it was. Got a number 6 out on the wing, and unfortunately that one's gone to ground. It's all open, waiting for a signal. I think Brighton may have stolen it, which they have. They'll try and come away from their own line with Groves. See whether there's anybody in the pocket. There isn't at the moment. They're just kind of happy to work one out at the moment. Brown. He's dumped in. What has to be said is the only part of the pitch that looks like it needed a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think that's been a school holiday sandpit, that one.
He will shake out of that tackle. Finally gets brought down. Support is there quick enough. Then they'll look out to that right-hand side again. Just a little bit of sniping. One out rugby from both of them at the moment. Groves again will with big contact with Walton. Walton does well to hold his feet. It's going to be a Brighton ball. Now they're going to look out wide to Butler. Butler just held onto it probably a little bit longer than Satala would have liked. Fanahow again will find a little bit of room, and he'll just sit somebody down.
Have a look at him.
Now they'll look back into midfield. Brown will step out of a couple. He will keep going. There's 2 Burnside men down from that collision with Brown. Brown will send it out to the left-hand side to Butler. Butler will step away from one, then get caught, look to bring it back. Again, it's slow ball. Richard Wosley will want to see that come out of the back of them a little bit quicker because it's given Burnside the chance to counter. There's still 2 Burnside players down. One is Walton. Can't quite see the other one. That was from the collision with Brown.
Is that Langford? No, I'm not sure. Jeez, he doesn't look good though. That
Neither of them look great. Well, funnily enough, you should talk about that. The blue card is brand new this year. We haven't seen one in the pre-season.
Well, let's hope we don't see too many of them, Dave, but it's obviously part and parcel with rugby, and you know, there probably is a lot of concussions that go under the radar.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, anybody who's showing the symptoms of concussion will be given a blue card. What that blue card does is it then sets off in motion a whole heap of things, and they have to see a doctor, and they have to kind of come back a graduated return to play. So we're just trying to keep an eye on Carlos. There should be a discussion really between Carlos and the trainers, but that's at least one of your second row. That's your second row, and Louis Fagan is already making his way off. I haven't seen anything brandished yet.
I think that's Callum. Louis Fagan, the prop. And is it Callum?
Callum's the other
one.
one.
Back to the pack there.
He's trying to get back to the pack.
Well, that's not what you want to have after 11 minutes. A bloke who's just played 80 minutes coming on, and if I know, I think it's Jono's just come on there. I think it is Jono. Yeah, it is Jono. He gives 100%, so he'll be a bit spent, I would suggest. So let's see how that plays out in that front row battle. But some big hits early, to be fair. There's a little bit of aggression out there, and as you'd expect, but to be fair, it's probably not as electric as I would have expected. I think there's just a little bit of maybe nerves getting around early, Dave.
Yeah, it's interesting actually. I was here earlier in the day, and I saw a bit of the third grade game, and obviously the third grade being the elite athletes that they are. You can do your pre-season. Your pre-season can be as good as it wants, but nothing will prepare you for full rugby.
Never.
Like that match fitness will probably take a little bit of time to kick in. So that's possibly got something to do with it as well.
Yeah.
Burnside will look into midfield. Then they will look out to Tanaki.
He's
Tanaki with a bit of room. He will step back inside. Butler does well and holds on. Out to the tackle, but that Brighton patch manages to make a tackle for them. Little pick and drive to the right-hand side. Now Burnside they've got numbers out on that left-hand side. Little step inside from Hodgson, and Hodgson will go over. So that will take it to Brighton 5, Burnside 8, with the kick to come. Just ran out of numbers, Brighton.
Yeah, a little bit overcommittal there. We got stretched there, and Tremaine probably just caught him and allowed him to get a little bit of momentum, just get past that there. And yeah, they did a decent job of it there, to be fair, Burnside. I don't know about all the woohooing, mate. In round 1, 11 minutes into the season, but good luck to them.
It's just as they try and look down that left-hand side, and they just ran out of numbers. I think if
they
you're going to be,
really
if you're going to be nitpicky, you would like to see Hodgson draw and give rather than step inside. But that's very, very nitpicky, and it's 5 points with the kick to come.
Yep, no, well done.
Played
the short side,
yep.
Stretch the numbers, good try.
Kind of after that long break, and you would have expected Burnside to come out of the back of that worse off, but Brighton just seemed to be half asleep on the way. And Harrison Rahali will have another shot at goal. He's 100% so far.
He's kicking over the sandpit there. I think I can see a shovel and spade in there, Dave.
Somebody's been making
I don't know
tackles.
what's going on there. That's pretty average.
Just that
though.
one spot.
It's,
Sends it out on the right-hand side. Looks like it's coming back. Flags go up. That is a good kick.
He's happy with it too. Look at that little wall. Look out.
Why wouldn't you be?
It.
So Tanaki just found himself in a little bit of space. And again, we talked about getting on the back foot and defence not being able to get set. Brighton have looked very, very solid when they've been able to control that defence. Once they get on the back foot, though, it's hard. They get stretched.
Yeah, I think that'll settle. I think that'll settle as time goes on. Tanaki's a slippery customer. I can vouch for that. That's a better kick.
Another good one, and that slips through the hands of Tanaki.
That was already out. Oh, hang on, mate.
He's gone. He's gone that way. He must have said he's come backwards off Tanaki. We didn't quite see it. On the.
No, that's all right. I think Carlos has got it here.
Yeah, he's got the knock on. So there we go. So, with the successful conversion on the Wojtek scoreboard, that will be Brighton 5, Burnside 10, and we will have another scrum. Parity in the scrums, you would say so far. No one showing a huge amount of dominance either way.
Yeah, not a bad looking scrum. Pretty even at the moment. Jono will bring a bit in this scrum here for Burnside. He's a good scrummager. Cow marshals it pretty well there, and Blair holds it together at the back pretty well. So this will be interesting. Not bad form from Brighton, but I'd like to see Mitch Wank a bit more connected than that. He's a little bit loose there. As you can just see, his side's just been monstered there.
Yeah, Brighton going backwards, but Groves has done well and picked and gone into the middle. Met by Tanaki. Tanaki trying to hold his feet. They will finally get it to ground. Then they will look into midfield.
Oh, Joel Plummer.
Plummer decides to bring it back to the safety of the big men. Then he will go out. Jacob France will set it up. Vanna went one way, then came back the other way. It's an interesting one. I don't know how many arms were in that. And I think that's Alex Williams.
Card, mate. That might be a blue
He does not look well. Well, he didn't look well. I'll just keep an eye on him. He's up and about, so that's okay. Burnside will then go left. Miss Butler out, but I don't think they did it on purpose. Bullower steps away from one. Then ran through two, and he was met strongly by the third. Butler with a show and go, and then his electric footwork gets him out of trouble. Brown will step in at halfback. Find Fishwick. Fishwick will send it on to Williams, so no ill effects from that hit. There is Burnside hands on it.
Cheese won't be happy with that, Reece Fishwick. That was an absolute hospital pass, that one. Absolutely shoveled that. And he forms a bit of a figure in that Adelaide Health Tech Anzac Day Guernsey there, doesn't he?
He fills it.
Look at him. He's feeling it, and he's feeling it as well. Have a look at hands on head there, mate. I think he might be a bit underdone in his pre-season.
Well, let's just...
Oh, that's a good kick from Plummer there. Have a look at that, Rose. See, now he's on, mate. I put the mockers on him early, and all of a sudden he's got his, he's hit his stride.
Well, kickers are like golfers, aren't they? Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. But if you can get it back, that's the important thing, is getting it back.
Unless you're Dan Carter, of course.
Well, it never goes away, does it?
Oh, mate.
Him and Johnny Wilkinson.
No, let's not talk about him.
No, I will always
him a
talk
miss,
about.
mate.
No, Johnny Wilkinson. Sir Johnny Wilkinson. If he's not, he should be.
Yeah, well, they give anyone a knighthood over there, don't they?
Brighton with the line out. Just over 5 metres out. They've gone to the back.
Good line.
It'll come off the top. Just couldn't gather it, but manages to ship it in field to Plummer. Plummer will send it into the middle to
Oh!
but Butler again will shake through, and then he will offload. Then they are over. He's happy about it. He'll throw the ball up. It's one of the new boys. I don't recognise him. I can't quite get a number of him.
That was a well-worked try there. I mean, Buller hits the line, takes 3 defenders to even.
So that's Vanna, the halfback. So even with the coming off the back and just spilling it a little bit, we get there eventually. Then we send it.
It's good support play. And Vanna's
Butler,
ready for it, isn't he?
Nice offload from Butler. Support running is vitally important in rugby.
Well, he made up
So
for
he's
his
finished
mistake.
that. Yeah, it was him who made the mistake initially. So Fanahow, and then, like you said, Butler just with dragging a couple, and then Butler with a nice offload, and then Vanna just sweeping around the back will take that offload, and he'll get another 5 points.
Great to have CME back on board down here again this year, continuing as the naming rights sponsor of CME Sports Lighting Rugby Field, and also on as a major sponsor also. Great supporters of SA Rugby.
So flag go up, successful conversion. So Brighton 12. Burnside 10.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on
Yeah.
that scoreboard, mate. It's not right. But anyway.
We will fix the Wojtek scoreboard. I'm just trying to do the maths. So it is a try, converted try, and a penalty, which is why my maths is 10 to 2 tries and 1 conversion. So Brighton 12, Burnside 10. We'd love another close one, wouldn't we? Another red time will do us.
Happy to have a close first half.
You'd like to see him push away in the second.
Well, wait and see, mate. We talked about that fitness element, did we? You told me that Brighton looked fit in the pre-season. I know what they've been putting in, so it'll be interesting, mate. I'd like to see what Burnside have been doing and whether they can keep pace.
Another mistake from the kickoff. Burnside now can go. Marshall will round the corner. Groves, is that Groves there again?
Yep. Big Trump.
Yes. El Presidente. He's there or thereabouts. Because I've always sung the praises of Nigel Lamson. Nigel Lamson who walks the tightrope as all back rowers do. But he's invaluable to Burnside, and as we've started, it certainly looks like Mr. President is going to start putting his foot down as a back rower and not giving anyone an easy time of it.
Very different players, I would think, Dave. Lamsam's one of those really elusive players who pops up in key moments, a real X factor. I think Jack's one of those hard-working, attritional players.
It's a good yardage, probably more yardage than Richard Bosley and the Brighton defence would like to see. Burnside again, sorry, can move out to the right-hand side. A little bit slower.
Langsford, good carry. Was a great junior.
It's still up there, and there we see the strength of Groves. Now that's a maul, so Burnside will have to use it. They are keeping it going forward. Once it goes to ground, it can't become a ruck, so it will be a Brighton ball.
Well,
so good work.
There. 2 balls at the ball there. Just a little Argentinian. He's an absolute little mad dog, he is. He wouldn't have been letting that go.
No, just saw the upper body strength of Groves as well in that little exchange. Speaking of youth, Burnside is starting to see the fruits of their work in the juniors. There's a couple of kids who played under 18s last year who are on the bench or starting.
Well, I coached Alistair Langsford and Kieran Sandbrook in under 16s at national championships, and they were both standout players then. And Kieran went away and didn't do a lot. I think Langsford did a bit of travelling, but I'm glad to see him back now, and he's really going well.
It's a ball at the back. Plummer had to tidy it up somewhat. Satala doing a bit of ruck work. He won't like that.
He loves all the work. Here we go. Groves off the back again.
Met by Walton. That's turning into a good little battle between these two. Walton is there, just rolled away, and then they can come away with it. Roberts will make a couple of yards, and then Logan Brown will get there, but it's knocked on, and Burnside will have a scrum in the shadow of the posts.
Good intentions there from Brighton, just trying to get that pick and drive going, just to get a little bit of momentum out to drive up the field a little bit before they look for that clearing kick. They won't want to play too much rugby in this end of the field here, so they'll be looking to get it out, but they'll be looking to do it sensibly and responsibly. I don't think they want to be just lashing away.
So another scrum. Brighton will hope that they can tidy it up from the last one we saw. Burnside looking very, very solid. Ball is at the back for Ashenford. He'll go out to Hodgson. Hodgson will send it back on the inside to Moroney. Runs over the top of Groves. We talked about the two balls going at it, and Moroney got the better of that one. Now they will look out to the left-hand side. Walton puts his head down, runs into Brown. Then we'll just restart. Looks like Brown has nicked it, though. Brown has nicked it. He's done very, very well, the old fella. Now good support. Walton making a covering tackle on Fishwick.
Oh, flick on.
So Butler definitely is one of those players who knows that the camera's here and he'll mark those games in the calendar. I've spoken to Tremaine on many occasions. Brown with a nice little off-road round the corner, but it didn't quite get there. Now it's gone back.
Gold, not called blue.
Big Rob Walker, as we call him, Robbie Bill, getting his first touch there.
I didn't see it.
So a little bit of conversation there between Alistair Walton and Carlos, even though Alistair's not the captain anymore, and he still has relationships. He's suggesting that Logan didn't quite hold his own weight at the ruck, but I looked clean to me.
I think it's just the size of his backside, to be fair, mate. It looks like he's not holding his weight, but... oh, look at that from canvas. Solid run.
Lamsam will send it out to the left. Another little flick on, but that one's gone forward, and Brighton will have the ability. A little bit of afters. Little bit of afters.
Oh, here we go.
Bullower came over and just gave him a pat on the head.
There's Walton coming in there. He loves it.
Yeah, you have those players who are there or thereabouts when the handbags come out for comparison.
Oh, no, there's
nothing wrong with the tackle.
Fantastic.
He's on his back, but Tanaki standing up for his mate.
They often take umbrage to that. They don't like getting hit, these blokes.
But, yeah, don't get me wrong, the tip tackle is something that needs to go out of the game, but that one's okay. He's landed flat on his but that's what I'm saying. He's landed flat on his back, so all's fair, play on.
Excellent.
But, it's nice to see Tanaki backing up his teammate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Bullower coming in, and the old I'm friendly tapping you on the head. Let's see whether I can make you upset and get you sat down for 10 minutes. But 25 minutes gone. It's been a little bit seesaw. I would suggest that Burnside have the upper hand in the scrum, as we see there. It's gone down and they'll reset it, but Burnside are starting to show their dominance in that scrum.
Definitely, yeah. We talked about it a couple of scrums ago where it looked quite even, but since that point, Burnside have really got their act together and are driving us off the ball, to be fair.
Well, the change would be Jono Van Dissel. Or is it Kieran Sambrock who's come on, the number 21? If they're wearing the same shirts as
Jono's on.
So
Jono's
they've
on, mate.
changed shirts
He's
on
a
me.
good prop. That side seems to be where it's doing all the damage. I would suggest his engine room's got something to do with it.
He's certainly changed the way that the scrums look. They were on parity. He's come on and he seems to be giving your, I think it's Jacob France over there, he's giving them a little bit of a torrid time. And again, they're going backwards. Groves will have to pick up and he'll touch that down. And it'll be a 5-metre scrum.
Bit of pressure there.
A lot of pressure there, and another little bit of niggle. Walton, what you would say is the usually nicer Walton started to get under the skin of the Brighton boys.
Yeah, I think, look, Reece Fishwick at number 1, usually a hooker, making his debut at prop tonight could have something to do with it, but it seems to be his side that's holding up okay.
Yeah, he's playing on the left, he's on the loose head side, so that will be Jacob France, who's just struggling a little bit, you would think, with Van Dissel, and did I see him show a yellow card? No.
No, I think he was just waving.
Oh, so there's a change. So
off.
Jono Van Dissel is going off, and I think we've got
the head bin coming back.
Louis Fagan back. Well, there was no blue card, so it's not a head bin. And with the blue card, you can't play again for the rest of the day.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, once that blue card goes, you can't actually play until you've gone through the graduated return to play policy.
I did do smart rugby last week. I should know that.
You should. Yeah, we should. But Burnside with a scrum in a very, very dangerous position. Again, it's solid. It's at the back. They can go into midfield. Moroney with the dummy run that time. Tanaki will come from the blind side wing. Manages to offload it. Then we will look for space on the right-hand side. Didn't quite get there. Hodgson will straighten. Hands in there from Brighton, and it's stolen, but not holding the weight, which is something that Alistair Walton was talking about. So that's the thing. You see a lot of players will put their hands on and then let the clean-out take them and the ball with them. That's not allowed. Must hold your own weight at all times. So another penalty. You expect Rahali to go back and have a shot at goal and just push them 1 point out in front. So Burnside in the last, 10, 15 minutes have really started to show control of this one.
They have. They've camped down this end, and they're not doing too much wrong, to be fair. They're putting the Brighton defence under a lot of pressure, and Brighton's defence is, well, it's holding to a degree. Not necessarily putting too much pressure on the Burnside attack, or not enough to force a turnover or to make a change in that ascendancy that Burnside's got.
So Rahali will settle himself. Contact was good, flags go up. Tack on another 3 points. A 1 point game. Brighton 12, Burnside 13 on the Wojtek scoreboard. Both teams, neither one of them is panicking though at the moment. Neither one of them has to panic at the moment as to where they are.
No, it's only early doors. Brighton won't be happy with sitting down that side of the field though, and they won't want to let Burnside get too much wind in their sails either, because they are a side that plays with a bit of passion when they get going.
So Plummer again has gone out on the full.
Too big there. I see what they're trying to do there. They're trying to let Peter have that wing and see if he can't grab one off the kickoff, and he knows that he's a little bit disappointed with that one there. That one went a little bit too far, but he's probably asked for that to be deep there. So
he's quick and borderline as well, I would say, whether he's behind the kicker. That's probably something he needs to look at, because he's right in front of us. We're bang on halfway, and it was close, I wouldn't suggest, but just a bit heavy from Joel Plummer. Maybe one less Weetabix in the morning, and he'll go better. So we'll see whether that scrum reverts back or whether Louis Fagan can continue that dominance. Again, they are nice and solid. They'll look out to the right-hand side. Little bobble from Hodgson. He will send it out. That's Matt Benger out there. Ball will come back. Ashingford would send it on. Little show and go from Alistair Langsford.
good strength.
Again, like people are going to have to learn not to run upright into Mr. Groves. Totoko will straighten and then offload. But that's just ripped away by Logan Brown. Logan Brown had the support, decided he didn't want it, and he was just going to go to ground. There is an advantage to Brighton.
Yeah, never got back.
Groves, not held, so he'll roll a little bit forward. Hands are on. Still a Brighton advantage, though, you would say. Satala in at halfback. Lazily sends it out on the left-hand side to Ryan France. Again, the halfback isn't there. Yeah, we're coming back. Oh, it's 2 rucks in a row that your halfback wasn't there.
I can't see him.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether there's an issue there.
No, there he is. He's just composing himself. He might have copped one there. Looks a bit ginger, to be fair, but yeah, now. It's a better kick.
Almost exactly where the kickoff went out.
Yeah.
But a better result. So Burnside will have the line-up. Oh, sorry, Brighton will have the line-up.
So Alex Williams with some influence with ball in hand earlier. A really good rangy run there, and that's the kind of momentum we need going forward. I think Logan Brown started pretty well, coming back after long-term injuries. So Jacob France looking a bit leaner this year as well. I think there's some strength there in that ball-carrying ability. So we'll see how the fitness is come second half, I think.
Well, that's always going to be the issue. And like we've said, first hit out of the year, around 10 minutes to go at the end of this first half. Again, they will go to the back. Now they will look for a maul. Can they get that one going forward? Is that the back of the maul? Mitch Wench, I think, at the back there. But now they are going to go out into midfield. Plummer, late ball to Brown, who got man and ball at the same time.
You might be happy with that.
Now Burnside will counter-attack. They'll go out to Benja. Benja looking for a little bit of space. Shows, then turns into Plummer. Plummer does well standing him up. But Burnside can roll on again. Just a little show and go. Looked for a bigger runner outside him. Couldn't find one, so had to go and do the big boy work. Marshall will send it on to Walton. Walton crosses the halfway. Again, Burnside will go to the other Walton. Walton will send it out. Oh, yeah, there's arm is out. It'll be interesting to see. It was right in front of us. There was no arms. There was no wrap at all from Bullower. Again, they will go into midfield. Tanaki will send it in. It's all about the bounce, and the bounce goes into Logan. I think no arms tackle, but it's just a penalty. It wasn't there.
Yeah, no, that was pretty clear and evidence right in front of us here, Dave. Let's have another look at it. Yeah, it's pretty clear. Yeah.
I mean, it was, and he had a second go. He had 2 goes at it. Arms are just for show with Bullower. So they'll push down the line, and Burnside will have a line-out between the 10 and the 22. I think line-out work-wise, Brighton have shown that they are comfortable with their own line-up.
Very much so. Well, Mitch Wank can throw, so he's looking to exploit that, getting it to the back of the line-out and trying to get some quick ball out.
Walton will go to the middle to Walton. Now it's Burnside's turn to set them all up. See whether we can see the ball, whether that's going to make its way back. It is made its way back. Unsurprisingly, as per usual, it ends up in the hands of Lamsam. And it will keep going, and Oliver Barker is at the back there. Now we've got Joe Ashenford coming in and trying to direct a little bit of traffic. That maul has gone a long, long way. That's the 5-metre line you can see in the background, and the Brighton try line that you can see in the background. Ball comes out, penalty. Very rare that you see it come out the side and it not be a penalty. The question about what they're going to have for tea.
Very rare you see Joel Plummer up in that, mate.
Well, there's two first fives there, two fly halves having a little bit of a ding-dong.
He's one of the nicest blokes you will ever meet, one of the quietest blokes you'll ever meet as well. He's the type of bloke that walks into the dressing sheds and shakes every bloke's hand before he even bothers about taking his R.M. Williams boots off. He's a good country lad, came down from Alice Springs, very lucky to have him, won about 5 best and fairest in a row, I'm led to believe, up there after relocating from New South Wales country. So it's really excited to see him go round this year at full fitness.
It's a danger signs for Brighton. If Burnside managed to do what they did in the last one, then you would expect to see Carlos's arm up in the air. Has remained on its feet. They're trying to get the go forward. Brighton very well defended, but it's popped out the side, and there is the arm up. See who gets up from that one. It's Alistair Walton with the try. So that is, they were given a warning shot with the last one. Unfortunately, they couldn't sack it. They managed to get a player through the middle of it, but Burnside just dominant with that driving maul from the top of the lineup.
Well, it's dangerous, isn't it? And they need to be aware of that from now on. They really, really need to take that into account when they're setting up their line-out defence, I think. Some body height issues there. Just some ill effect. Just hitting it to non-effect there, Bright.
So Rahali again. He takes his time. A Plummer. He's getting closer and closer. That's going to get the flags in the air.
I don't think Plummer's too happy about something from that little stoush they had there. So
I think just as it goes, how do you get, maybe just take a little bit off it next time you kick off.
Yeah.
So Plummer will restart. No, Satala's been given the duties. Buller was a mile in front.
And that was absolutely appalling from Satala there. He won't be happy with that.
So restart's a little bit of a thorn in the side for Brighton at the moment.
I think he's just said, giving Joel a little bit of a settle down there and say, hang on, mate, just settle yourself down. I'll take this one. He's absolutely shanked it as well. So back for the restart here. So
Just trying to keep an eye on Plummer and Hodgson. It's going to turn into a nice little battle between these two fly halves.
I hope it does.
It's not something you see every week, is it? The fly halves having a go at each other.
No.
But we'll keep an eye on it. So scrum dead on midfield. Burnside again, nice and solid. They are controlling that scrum. Now they will go out onto the right side to Moroney. Moroney will show and go. Make good yardage forward. Stood up again though. Finally gets to ground. Burnside will manage to make it come back though and just bobbled forward. I think that's Walton over there. No, it can't have been Walton because Walton just kicked it in. It is.
Yeah, Langford.
Yeah, or number 4.
Yeah. He's got hands the size of shovels as well, but they can sometimes be used like shovels. And he's dropped that one cold there, which he won't be happy with, especially Eric the Eagle after his go forward. Talked about the show and go from young Eric, mate. He doesn't pass much, I've noticed. He loves hitting it up.
So, on the scoreboard with the converted try, Brighton 12, Burnside 20 on the Wojtek scoreboard. And again, Burnside just bullying Brighton off it, but Groves will pick up and go. Runs directly at his first defender, but it will shake his way. He's bootless as well. He's managed to lose a boot, but he manages to keep going. That's some good yardage from Groves.
Robbie Bill.
Then they will send it out. Little bit isolated. Where's the support? Was the cry from my left-hand side. Get isolated. It's either a turnover or a penalty, and there it is, penalty. So I think it was, I couldn't quite see who got there first, but not releasing. And Burnside will have the penalty and be able to drive them down closer to that line. And again, we saw that where the spectre of the driving maul will start to raise its head again.
Rob Walker hitting that contact hard, but just no one going with him. Doesn't help.
Isolation is a coach killer. Got all excited, I think. But fortunately for Brighton, the kick was pulled a little bit, so not as dangerous as it could be. This would be a phenomenal driving maul if they made it all the way in. 40 metres, but in Walton, off the top to Lamsam. Lamsam will send it into the middle to Hodgson. Then out the back. Tanaki again will kick it forward. Bobbles in front of Satala. Satala picks it up very, very well. Beats the first one. Stands out of the second one. Then will finally go down when his support gets there. That's the kind of stuff that you can't teach. His ability under pressure is second to none. So we are in red time. France runs through the first arm tackle. Then is dealt with by Lamsam.
Solid run from the big vegan there.
Plummer does well to get it out. Groves! Oh, nearly through the interception. But there is a penalty. Bullower goes. He wants to have a run. A reminder, it changed a couple of years ago, but they can still have the line up, even though time has expired. Just remember as well that we do play stoppages.
Brighton will want to do something from this. Brighton will want to do something from this, mate. They won't be happy with this half. The first couple of minutes, not too bad, but since then, Burnside's had all the ascendancy, especially in the forward pack.
There's been positives. Groves has been very good. Logan Brown, as per usual, has been very good. Satala has been calm at the back. Bullower showed his ability early on, and then just silly mistakes, like being in front of the kicker and things like that. Get a little bit messy, but they do manage to clean it up, and Vanna will have to hold it. He's going to come back, but there is no fullback, so pick and drive coming from Ryan France. Crosses the 40-metre line. Vanna will get there now. Again, slow ball. He'll go out to Plummer. Plummer will send it into midfield. Goes halfway through the first one, then we'll hand it off to Groves. Groves again, they struggle to get him down. Another offload, this time to Roberts.
Go on, Tommy.
Roberts will just keep those legs going and try and make his way to the Burnside 22. It's going to come back again. Nice and slow. 4 or 5 phases here. Plummer shows, straightens, runs through 2, runs through Hodgson, leaves him on the ground. Little victory for Plummer. Fanahow will again try and work to ground. He's on the ground. Big shout to release, I would imagine, and Brighton can continue. Butler is taking the headgear off. Into Brown. Bit congested in that midfield. They do manage to get it away. Fishwick with a little ball out the back. Then the wraparound. Fishwick will take on 2. Clean out is there. Brown will go to halfback. He will send it out to the left. Then they will push it on one more to Ryan France. Phases are building up for Brighton. Fanahau into halfback, to Butler, to Satala. Satala stops, then goes. Will make yardage after the first contact. Now he's got a little bit isolated. Advantage to Brighton. Butler has a little look, nothing there. So they'll just resettle. Another pick and go. Plummer starting to look as if it was there, still advantage. Then they'll go out to the left-hand side. Big Ryan France will try and find a couple of yards. Wasn't held to, got back to his feet. But finally a whistle from Carlos, which can give us all the rest. That was good sustained play.
Looking better. Really a few good sustained efforts there from Williams, Tremaine getting involved there. Logan Brown ever present. Logan will be driving that. He'll want to see some go forward. Won't be happy with what's going on there. Just not looking as dynamic as what I did see in the pre-season and what I've seen at training. Just maybe a little bit shocked at how easy they're getting handled in the forwards at the moment, I think.
The pace that the game is being played at is markedly slower than we saw from them in pre-season, from both teams. And again, it's probably that match fitness thing. Now we'll see whether Brighton have an answer with the driving maul of their own, but Walton gets a hand in there and his not brother cleans it up. You would think that would probably be it. Box kick if it goes. It hasn't gone. One of the big fellas back there, he'll send it into Roberts. Roberts will beat the first one, then offload to Alex Williams. Williams will cross the 22. Brighton will look to build those attacks again, and that phase rugby again. Plummer sends it to Fanahau, sends it out to Butler. A little bit of a rush out from Tanaki, and then Bullower is out there one-on-one with Tanaki.
Danger.
He'll step inside and step inside another. Bullower with 2 steps will go over in the shadow of half-time. He will go over almost untouched. You cannot give that man a square inch. He will stand you up and make you look silly.
And that just
the scores will be tied with the kick to come, but Bullower looking his dangerous self and dotting it down.
That just comes fair and square back to that box kick from Burnside. You'd have to think he just had no idea that there was time left on the clock. Like, he must have thought that it was, it wasn't half time. He should have just put that out, got in the sheds, been happy with the half and the dominance of his forwards, but instead he's put up a mindless box kick. It's been shifted well, Bullower's got back in, and now we're back on level playing fields, and Brighton will go in with a bit of confidence. They'll sort out that forward game, and can't ever think that was a poor error from Burnside.
Well, yeah, skill errors early in the season. It's not going to. Wayne Vincent's not going to be happy with it. Certainly, you would think you would be having that conversation. Is it half time? Do we have time to go into the break and then just kick it out? Had the lead.
Well, I'm just looking around.
All tied up. Plummer will send it up. That will take them 2 points in, and it was half time with the next one. So Brighton are leading this one at half time, 22 points to 20 on the Wojtek scoreboard. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an interesting half. We are going to take a break. We'll be back with you. We'll have a look through your Facebook comments. We're going to take a very short break, and we'll speak to you again very, very soon. And welcome to half-time here at Brighton CMA Sports Lighting Rugby Field, I think is his full title. Apologies, I got ahead of myself. The score is Brighton 19, Burnside 20. It's my fault. I take full responsibility. I think I just got excited with the scores there. Interesting first half. We did say we'll have a look at Facebook, and just so people know, the way that this works is that we invite a club member from the home club every week. So the impartiality for you is going to be quite difficult, isn't it? Being a Brighton man through and through.
Yeah, you're not going to get it from me. If you want impartiality, you can probably get someone else on board. But
that being said, for every home game we will have special comments from somebody who loves and lives and breathes the home club. I'm the impartial one. I have no colours in any camp anymore. Just going through the comments, there's one suggesting your commentary is quite good from a Dan Naylor. So it was a little bit of self-praise is always good praise. Not a lot really going through that. What I would say is from the first half of rugby that we've seen, tale of two set pieces. Tale of set pieces, really. Brighton looked okay early on, but Burnside certainly have just put the foot down and put the stamp down on both set pieces with the driving maul from the liner and from the scrum.
Well, it's an imposing driving maul. It's really solid. Burnside are really getting some good ascendancy with that. They're setting well early and they're getting that drive going forward, and that's hard to stop at any level. It doesn't matter, and Brighton aren't doing enough from that instant. As the feet touch the ground, they're just not enacting it. They're not anticipating it well enough, and they're not driving it back.
Two moments of absolute brilliance from Bullower, you would say. The first try, he just stood up, Tanaki, and then went. The second try, Tanaki came out, got himself in all sorts of bad position, and then Bullower with two steps, exactly the same steps, just left two defenders in his wake. Two moments of absolutely outstanding. And if you take them away, Brighton have struggled to look like they were going to score.
They have. The forward pack just probably isn't doing enough. The line out is really good. That part of the set piece is fine, and it's giving the backs a really good platform to move forward. The scrum is poor. It's getting absolutely knocked off the ball, worked off the ball. They'll be talking about that in the sheds at the moment, I have no doubt, as well as how to defend that driving maul. And there's enough smart guys in that shed to hopefully see and enact a change for the second half.
From Burnside's point of view, dominant in the scrum, dominant in the line out. They had a little bit of a scare with Callum Walton and Louis Fagan, possibly with injuries. I'm just going to interrupt myself because we have a guest. Can we bring him in? We should bring him in.
Come on, buddy.
We've got Finley with us. Those of you who watch the podcast and stuff will be aware of Finley's Will to Walk and anybody who was involved with it. So Finley's Will to Walk, go to the Facebook page, search that. We are raising money to get Finley over to America, to get to the US to get us. How are you, Finley? High five. How are you? Are you enjoying the rugby so far? Speaking to your dad's mic.
Yeah. You having fun?
Yeah. And you went out with them before the start of the game and you enjoyed it? You were wearing your Brighton colours?
Yeah, you got to run on with the boys, didn't you? Have fun? You don't eat that.
It was always going to be the problem that we'd have the kid eating the microphone. So this is Finley. You can wear it if you want, put it on your head. So Finley, we raised over $10,000 for him at the business lunch. Ladies and gentlemen, go to Facebook, go to Finley's Will to Walk. We're raising as much money as possible to get him over there.
Righto, mate.
He definitely wants to go on that microphone. So really Finley, who's going to win today, Finley? Which team's going to win today, Finley?
Blue.
The blue. Ladies and gentlemen, controversial.
Off you go. That's enough out of you, mate.
From Finley Naylor, Burnside are going to win today. You heard it here first.
That's poor from you, mate.
And that's you on the TV. There you are, and your daddy. Ladies and gentlemen, please, from the bottom of your heart, give as much as you can for Finley, and he will fight as long as he can. Ladies and gentlemen, Finley, he'll stay with us for a little bit. I've kind of been sidetracked on the rugby now. What do you expect to see from the second half?
Mate, I want to see a big response from that Brighton forward pack. No doubt about that. So I might just hand him off to Mum.
Yeah, good job, Mum.
Thanks. Look, I expect to see a big response from that Brighton forward pack. That was the clear difference there, was the forward pack and how they were moving. I would think that looking at our pack and looking at their pack, I think they're pretty evenly matched as far as fitness is concerned. So,
well, we will step away because we're getting ready for the second half. Ladies and gentlemen, stay right where you are. Second half will be right with you. So we are back for the second half. The favourites, we cut it to Finley. Burnside will be kicking off, and we are about ready to go on this one. We are underway. Hodgson will send us up. Oh, very nearly came back Burnside's way. What you would want to see from Brighton is just pick up where they left off with that good phase rugby.
Great take from France there to start it.
So, Vanna will settle down. Genny will find Groves. Vanna will be at the back again. And he will find Alex Williams in the blue headgear. Because as per usual, Brighton is fooling me with the numbers. So I called him Ryan France all week. Bullower again, he'll just throw that one out the outside. Butler does well, but has to go backwards. Then he will find a little bit of space, run through one, held on to by the second one, but made very, very good yards across the 40. Vanna is there again, then he will look into midfield. Big fella in Jacob France will find his way, and then a little offload out the back to Ryan France's brother, then another offload out the back to Alex Williams. Alex Williams will go under the post. Alex Williams will score, and finally, we've got his name right through the day.
Fantastic effort there. That's France to France there, but all started there by Tremaine Butler there. He got a really rough ball there from Peter. It just got flung out, and he really did well with that. And a couple of palms came up, and he actually did a lot of go forward instead of a lot of steps on the spot. And then the two France brothers connected with Williams, and a great try there. Really good signs early.
Yeah, and that's exactly how you'll want to start. Well, all three of them. The France brothers, there was a lovely offload from Jacob France, and then Ryan France with an equally pretty one, and then Alex Williams dotting it down, and then Plummer will add on the extras. I'm not even going to try and keep score now. 26-10, 26-20. Sorry. Even my maths can work out 19 plus 7. I had an absolute shocker in the first half.
I think, all right, mate, you're forgiven. Early season. If the players can get away with it,
Cobwebs.
I think the commentators can get away with it.
I haven't got my match
well,
fitness
mate.
just there yet.
No.
So 2 minutes gone, converted try. That's how you want to come out. But I think that's the thing with a player like Bullower, who is individually very, very, very good. You kind of can't put a leash on him. You just have to let him play.
You do. You do. You just can't control that.
So Williams with the take. He'll run directly at a Burnside player. He's met and dealt with. Brighton again, looking into midfield, finding Fanahow. Fanahow will hand the first one off and again make good yards and just run through that initial tackle. Now they will go quickly down that right-hand side. Halfback with a pick and drive, isolated a bit, and Lamsam is there, and that's what Lamsam does so very well.
Yeah, as soon as you saw him lurking on that ball, you knew there was a good opportunity for a turnover there, and he did it really, really well. Great run from Farnes there, showing some real intent, but just again, a little bit of isolatedness, and the support just wasn't quite there.
That's the major issue with isolation, is that especially, I mean, we talk about this level, and you know, Nigel Lamsam is there. Groves has shown that he can do it. Alistair Walton can do it. If you get yourself isolated, it's a turnover or a penalty, and we saw that there.
Now Burnside are in a prominent position here to get this rolling maul going again. I'll be interested to see the setup, and I want to see the tactic from Brighton here. They're still contesting at the front, but let's have a look at Ryan France and Logan Brown.
Gone to the middle. Logan Brown got himself in the position for the sack, and he's got himself through the middle. He is allowed to come through the middle. He'll get beaten up a little bit in there, but again, it's at the back, and Alistair Walton. So Logan Brown's still okay in there.
Much better defence.
Come out the back though. That's not great, and that's a coach killer, because you've done all of the hard work, and then you've just given them away that penalty.
I think he's missed it, mate, to be fair.
He had a hand out. Might have put that hand out and put it down. There it is.
Nah, he's got it there.
Yeah, you get just a little bit of a brain explosion.
Yeah, that's poor from Ryan France. He should know better than that.
Well, you know, as far as the names that I was given, a little bit of a brain trump.
Brain trump.
But yeah, not what. Done all the hard work, he stopped the forward momentum, and then the hand comes out. Richard Wasley will not be happy at that. because all you're going to do is you're going to hand them a line out on the 5 metre line. You have to do it all over again.
I'll tell you the man I feel for in that, and that's Logan Brown, because he put himself in the best position to disrupt that. He worked really hard, and then at the end of it, you've got one of your silly second rowers just slapping the ball out of the halfback's hand. It's just, yeah, it doesn't make for. You'd be having a word to him about that, I reckon.
Best position and worst position, because you know that when you go through that middle,
well, now look
you're going to get beaten up.
Look at this
5
position.
metres out. Now they don't contest. Now they do get the sack. That's the first time we've seen them manage to get the sack, but the ball is still up. Lamsam has the ball out to Walton. That is the 5 metre line, so they got 5 metres till there. There's a side entry there. He tried to get away with it, but he never will. Still there, still marching forward. Can they get it down?
Absolutely,
I can see it down. Carlos can see it down. Try scored. Got to find a way to stop that.
I think they almost did, but Burnside shifted it really cleverly there and got it, and could see where the force was coming, and they shifted that ball, and they just continued to stay on their feet and continued to move forward and just did it sensibly. There was nothing really forceful in Burnside's maul there. They just moved it forward sensibly, kept control of it, sawed off the attacks as they came, and dotted it down.
Yeah, so I think that's Callum Walton who came up with the try.
He'll be happy with that. Nah, yeah, was it? Or Blair? Could have been.
They do look similar from a distance.
Sorry, mate. I know the commentators, you don't want to correct your fellow commentators,
No,
either, but I think it was canvas there, because he's looking pretty happy with himself, to be fair.
More than happy for you to correct me. Certainly not infallible. So, this is a big kick. 1 point margin, Brighton and Burnside just picking up where they left off from last year. Take away the anomaly of the grand final where Brighton pushed away. The last 3 games we saw from them, you could, barely get a piece of paper between them.
Certainly had some close encounters last year.
So Rahali again sends it on its way. The Burnside people will tell you before the touch judges do. Sorry, the ARs. Jesus, so my age saying touch judges.
I still call them touchies, mate.
So, Brighton 26, Burnside 27. 1 point in it.
Plummer back with the ball in hand.
Been given the honour all over again. So there's a substitution being signalled for. They'll probably get that in the next one. He's driven that well deep into the 22. Burnside can come out of there. That one is Blair Marshall. Then they will look left to Callum Walton. Walton will shift it on to Louis Fagan and gave him about 4 Burnside players at the same time. So Louis Fagan just returned the favour. Oh, and there's an interception from Groves after nearly showing one himself in the first half. He's managed to pick the pocket there. Now Brighton can go. Fishwick with a little bit of a pick and drive to try and get that speed there. Just loose ball. Lamsam was sniffing again. Gets away with it though. Walton will try and take on Fanahow. Gets there eventually. Probably the first time that we've seen Fanahow not go forwards from there. And a penalty for sealing off.
Off quickly here.
Little tap and go.
Robbie Bill up on him.
There is space out there. Then we will send it out. That's a return. That's Will Shields. I don't think that is Will Shields. So they've done me with the shirt numbers as well. Don't know who the Burnside number 17 is.
Good cover defence from Peter there, because could have been in a bit of trouble there. There was just some poor little period of play in the middle there, where the ball just got shoveled out from the back of the ruck, and all of a sudden, we're back in the side of the field we spent so much time in the first half.
Well, they caught me as well. So a change. Reece Fishwick will go and have a rest.
Yeah.
He's done okay for his A-grade debut.
Yeah, no, he did all right, Cheese, to be fair, mate. He would have deserved his 2 roast chickens tonight, and he'll be really happy and rapt that he's off and can go and get himself a beer.
Does some good things.
But he did play well.
It's a ball to the back. Oh, so the office must have gone through. Interesting, but Callum Walton being Callum Walton and not allowing them to go quickly. It's one of those niggly players, Callum Walton, but when you Lovely fella.
Lovely
Just
fella.
gets under your skin when you play against him.
Yeah. I think we've exchanged fists on more than one occasion, but we're definitely not condoning that. But
Exchange gifts.
Always.
Mitch Wenchel, halfback. To Vanna at the back controlling again. Goes to Plummer. Plummer took it standing still. Then we'll find Butler. Butler will try and beat the first one. He is held up by Marshall. Marshall a little bit slow to get out of there. Ball is free though.
Oh!
Jordan with a massive hit on him. Penalty for offside though. So what we're seeing from Brighton is when they have the chance to play and they can play phase rugby, they're quite comfortable. They're knocking on the door at the moment. Burnside just aren't letting them in though.
Yeah, look, I'm not too worried. I think Brighton are playing that. If you see that phase play, there is some exceptional play there, even though it's a little bit rusty at times. I think there's been a lot of errors. I think the set piece is clearly where Brighton are struggling at the moment. In saying that, Burnside's back three have been pretty handy tonight when they've had some space. But it's been interesting. Most of Burnside's go forward has come off their set piece, and we haven't seen a lot of their backs.
So out here on this left-hand wing, Rob Walker, we've hardly called his name all night. He's having a proper winger's night.
He's not seeing a lot of the footy, and he won't be happy with that, Robbie Bill. And his chicken legs will be getting cold out there as well, I would think.
So Brighton are getting ever closer. They are within the 5 metres. They are very, very close to that. Groves is going to fancy a pop. He does. Burnside wall is there. Another little pick and drive, and that's Logan Brown who's spun out of it. Offside, though, so they'll get another go. Interesting to see whether they'll go for the posts, the number of options, but they've decided to go. They'll send it in field to Williams. Williams shakes his way out of the first one and can bring it back. Little pick and drive to the left-hand side. Again within 5. That's the Brighton try line that you can see. Big, strong defence from Burnside again. Logan Brown will want to get his hands on it, and he will. A little bit more sideways than he wanted to be. Russell with a little bit of footwork, then he'll look out to that right-hand side. I think that was Groves having a little pop, but not getting overly forward. Another penalty, so that's 3 in a row. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a little chat with Blair Marshall coming up. 3 in very, very quick succession. Vanna will get his hands on. Oh. Now they've decided to go to the post. So they knocked on the door and they just turned away, turned away, turned away. So there is a little bit of a chat there between Marshall and our referee, Carlos.
The penalties there were innocuous, though, with those defence under pressure penalties that come. Obviously, the multiples are the problem, but good pressure there from Brighton, just with that go forward there, putting him under pressure. I was surprised. I think the next one would have been a little bit of a spin, just a little bit wider of that stretched forward defence there, but deciding to take the 3, I think it's a good option at this point in the game. Go back, get set, come back down, continue that vigour.
Joel Plummer with the Johnny Wilkinson stance, 1 step, sends it through. Just thought I'd slip another Johnny Wilkinson reference in there for you.
Yeah, I didn't go unnoticed.
So, Brighton 29, Burnside 27 on the Wojtek scoreboard. Actually, a conversation I had with Nathan Satala. Probably one of the most frustrating things about watching rugby is I had 4 or 5 phases and made not 30 centimetres.
See, I don't mind it, mate.
I'd like to see that level of defence all the way through the field.
I love seeing the battle on the try line, though. There's something nice about it. I watched it in the Lions-Reds game this afternoon, and there was a couple of times in that second half where the Reds were heavily defending and the Lions were knocking on the door, and there's some great defence. Eventually it gives away.
Stolen again by Walton, not for the first time today. And they will snipe down that right-hand side, but turned over by Brighton. Long field ahead of them, but they are going to have a go. Marshall with the tackle, and again he's slow. He's being allowed to do it.
Loving the work from Williamson since he's come on for Brighton in number 18 there. He is really getting some work.
It looks like another turnover. Burnside in the middle. Looking to cross the 22, which they do with Hodgson. Hodgson will lay it back. Walton just straightens up and runs straight at someone.
Williamson again.
Now you do have Vanna down. Vanna is down. It looks like a cramp from where I'm sitting. Oh, that's a terrible kick from Hodgson. It's gone backwards. Tanaki had to go backwards and get it. Do you see whether Vanna is up and round? I think he is. So just to confirm, it is Brighton 29, Burnside 27 on the Wojtek scoreboard. But that could all change as Rahale will line up.
Yeah, Vanna's still looking a bit ginger there at the back. I don't know if he's maybe just copped a bit of a knock on the knee or something like that, but hopefully he can run that one off. He's could be a bit of cramp, but
it looks like it looks like he's trying to stretch that calf.
Watch for Fanu to go into 9 if he does need to leave the field, and that'll be interesting as to what they do there, because from where I'm sitting, looking at the team sheet, there's not a lot of back firepower on that bench.
So Rahale will line up. Another interesting setup. With these kickers with a very, very slow approach, fine on penalties. Making it interesting on conversions though. Strikes it. Flags go up. Brighton 29, Burnside 30 on the Wojtek scoreboard. They're going to keep us guessing until the end, you would think.
Well, the scoreboard's continuing to tick over. It's good. It's continual play, which is nice to see. I think we want to see points. That's what everyone wants to see.
It's not what we've seen from the other games, though. The other games were one-sided. Some big scores in the Cooper's Premier Grade today.
Ooh.
Oh, he's shanked it a little bit, but it gets the distance. But now Burnside can attack. Hodgson just looks to chip. There is a little bit of a space there. It depends on the bounce. Butler does well. And then just a little bit of a knock-on. Advantage to Burnside. So we'll come back for the scrum.
Yeah, big Robbie Bill. He's got the toe on, and if he could have gathered that, he could have found himself in a little bit of space, but yeah, he just couldn't get those fingers underneath it. He'd be disappointed with getting a fresh haircut this morning and coming in only getting a couple of touches.
TV haircut?
Oh, mate, he loves a TV haircut. He is a bit Hollywood, our Robbie Bill out there. Great bloke.
So, first scrum that I can really think of in this second half, so we'll see whether Burnside still the dominant or whether Brighton could fix it at half time. Big loud blast, he just wants them to stand up again.
Yeah, I think Carlos goes through a few whistles. He does like to give him a fair old roost when he, my ears have copped the blasting over the years from Carlos's whistle.
Refereed the grand final as well, so.
Yeah, good.
Good referee from Portugal.
Yeah, do like him. Wears his hair really nicely as well. Has always had good hair.
So we're back on that left-hand side, the right-hand side. So there's a new prop for Brighton out there. Is that Sam Williamson?
Williamson, I think he's making a difference already. He looks a bit...
It looks like there's a change on that side as well for Burnside, because that's definitely not Aaron Tatoka. So that one will stay up.
Much better scrum.
A lot more parity in that scrum. Hodgson will just give it a nudge. Look for touch on that left-hand side. It holds up and will find its way in there.
That's a good kick, that one. They'll be really happy with that. That's getting them down the end of the field they want to play in. They can use their set piece to advantage. It is their strength at the moment.
Well, there's still 20 minutes to go. Plenty of life left in this one, and we're 1 point away.
This is going to be interesting to see whose fitness is better. I really think that's going to be the decisive factor here.
So, line out to Brighton. Again, they look at that back ball just overthrown, and Lamsam will step, and he will make some more yardage. That's 5 meters out, 6, 7 meters out for Burnside. They found themselves in a good position again. Then they will look left. Brighton player completely on the wrong side of that. There is an arm out. Williamson just finding himself causing... Oh, and then there's a breakthrough, and there's Lamsam sniping as he normally does, and he will go over. He will score another try, and the signature celebration from Lamsam at the moment. My word, he is sneaky around that ruck.
And that's what he does to you. You just need to protect that ruck. We're often guilty of missing that side, and if you see what happens, he just does his usual. And
that's right through the middle of it.
I'm not sure how many times I've seen that, but I'll tell you what, teams just don't learn. You've got to defend him. You need to look at him. You need to have a game plan for him around the fringes of those rucks.
It's not even the... It's straight through the middle. It's not even the fringes. I don't know how he gets away with it. And I've seen him do it a number of times, and we saw from the replay just how much it means to him. There's a lot of players out there. I was talking to some Burnside players. That grand final loss last year hurt them. They'll be looking for revenge today, especially as some of them were saying, like, been a while since they've been in a grand final, and they were still getting beat by the same players, the likes of Gareth Brown and Logan Brown and Andrew Brown. Same players. So they'll be out for revenge tonight.
Well, they're welcome to revenge in April, but that is going to burn with them all season, I would suggest. And
oh, the Burnside crowd said yes, and the assistants said no. And we trust the assistants.
Yeah, we don't trust the Burnside crowd. Generally.
They tried their best.
Generally.
Tried their best to sway our young ARs. So, Plummer again. See, we're getting some constructive criticism from our left hand.
I always do. I've given him a fair bit over the years.
So Brighton, it looks like, regained the kickoff and then lost it again. Ashenford slowing it down a little bit. Oh, that's a dodgy pass from Mwala Ivao. He's come on to test me. Green again with a little nudge. We're going to test the pace now. It's a foot race. Satala does very, very well. Honestly, and not held, so he can get up and go. He will make yardage out to the halfway. Satala, honestly, probably the safest player back there at 15 in South Australia, but that one's gone to ground. And that one will go backwards, and another knock-on. Knock-ons all over the place. I think even Carlos is a little bit confused as to what's going on. So we see this foot race.
And a great little kick there because there was space behind, and they exploited it. 3 Brighton players closing on him there. But just look at this from Satala. How's that?
It's I mean, I said it last year, and I will say it again. Probably the best fullback in South Australia right now.
Class never leaves you, mate. He's a quality player, 30 years old now, and still going around strong, captain this year, and well deserved. He has been a great club man for a number of years now, and yeah, just
slightly larger than he was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a huge.
I told you he likes his whistle.
He does like his whistle. I think he's had enough of these two. Wants him to playing rugby.
So new halfback on for Brighton there. Vanna has been replaced. He's
just
another
struggling
new
with
face.
a couple of...
there's a couple of new faces. 23 players across all grades from Brighton leaving at the end of last year. So there are a lot of new faces. We've been lucky enough to attract some solid ones.
So Burnside with the scrum. Oh, and Brighton have nicked one. Groves went digging for it, didn't come out, and it's come back to Burnside. My gosh, that is a mess. It's like the scrum you used to see in the 80s.
Yeah, that wasn't great. It wasn't a great advertisement for the game. Can we edit that one out?
Yeah, we won't send that one out.
For the TV broadcast, that'd be good.
We'll cut that one. We'll fix it in post. Yeah, that was messy. It went Brighton's way, then ended up back in Burnside's feet, and then just everybody gave up and had to lie down.
Just going back to Brighton's transition of players. In saying that, there still is a lot of depth, and this is a decent A-grade team out here at the moment. And there's a few other players who've been lucky to miss out. So Wouldn't be surprised to see Robbie Beale out for Kyle Ray next week.
Marshall picked up and went one way, then went back the other way, and now the kick will go down into this right-hand corner. Kicking away from Bullower, unsurprisingly, but Satala will take it in midfield. He will shape to kick, and of course we're giving him the commentator's curse. We give him the pump up, and then that one comes off the side of his feet, right in front of that Burnside crowd that's down there. Normally where the away team settles. To the left of your screen is where the Brighton faithful will stand. And
yeah, he's not dirty enough on himself for that one. That was just appalling. Well, it was. I mean, he's put them back in a position here. 35-29. You want to be making sure of those ones, but we'll let him off because he has been very good tonight.
So Moala Iva will hit number 4. Well, there was no sack, he just fell over, which obviously helps Burnside, helps Brighton. Oh, there is a counter ruck. That's what you want to see. But Burnside struggling to get it back. Now it's messy, but they will get it out. Hodgson, another little kick through. This time Bullower will get it. Long field in front of him. Makes the first one miss. Second one gets him, but he's out the back to Butler. Butler crossing the 22. Dragged down in midfield. Plummer will play as halfback, send it out into the middle. Little bit of a show and a go from Mitch Wench. Brighton now can build and settle. Logan Brown will just ship it on to Williams. Williams shakes the first one, shakes the second one. Brought down finally by the third one. Groves will pick up. Look for some space, he'll knock it on.
Thrown it
but
away
we are
there.
going back for a penalty for offside.
And there you go, that penalty was induced just simply through that ascendancy, that go forward play that we see. But you just see, look at him. He gets the ball in hand and he's got one mission, doesn't he? Look at him.
Would not want to have to deal with that one-on-one in an open field. Very, very elusive. Tall and rangy, with a step that is unbelievable.
And I think he's got about 5 sentences of English now. He's going
he's getting
over
better.
the summer. Some of the boys have helped him out with a few bits and pieces, but he often gestures are the best form of communication.
I was impressed with him last year, and I tried to have a chat with him before a game, and
how'd that
did
go?
not get much out of him. Fijian,
Certainly
so
is.
His language is rugby. Big hit from Walton. Lamsam looked to steal it, slowed it down enough. Plummer to Brown. Brown will send it to Satala. Satala will find Butler. Butler will show, then try and get through a gap again. Looks for that offload. Little bit isolated, but they'll get there. Slowed down a lot though. Plummer with a little bit of a show and go. Takes on a couple of the big boys and nearly throws an interception, but Fanahow will clean that up. Plummer again, out the back. A little bit of a question to high from Tanaki, but it's gone and it's played on.
He's done well there.
Tanaki will try and shake off the attentions of Plummer, but he can't do it. Walton with a kick, a big torpedo, and straight down the arms of Bullower.
He
is not happy.
Because he knew he was on there. He only had 6 blokes to beat there.
Yeah, he backed himself.
He was in for all money.
Yeah, he may as well have just awarded it to him there. I think that's how confident that young man is.
He's got those angry eyes on now as well.
Yeah.
Watch for him.
Callum Walton started his career as a fullback, so he can kick. But again, Wayne Vincent, don't kick it to the most dangerous player who wearing a Brighton shirt for a counter-attack.
No, and especially not when you're wearing number 5. You might be living in your heyday of 15, but he's definitely not 15 now. He's too slow.
but he can still kick, I think. Just chooses not to. And maybe he should continue to choose not to.
Yeah, I would suggest that would be a good career path going forward. I was looking at here, a lot of discussion in this back 3 from Burnside. I think we can watch for something down the right-hand side here.
Well, they've split. They've got sort of 3 and 3. Haven't overloaded. I'm a big fan of the overload. You don't see it very much anymore.
Behind the ball, mate.
Oh, and I think we might have managed to get Carlos back, and now we will go to Hodgson. Hodgson just shows and goes. Then we'll take on Plummer. Then we'll go out. Another chip. Yeah, it'll be kick or kick. Your man Williamson. Tough when he's up in the air, but yeah, Burnside players flooding forward. A lot of them wanted to do it. Should have a replay
see
on
that
it.
coming, that right-hand side. I knew they were going to get wide
show.
here. They did exploit it, and that chip and go, bang.
Yeah, he did know what he was doing.
Yep.
Yeah, had eyes for the player and not really the ball. A little bit of a dangerous challenge as well. And I think we've got Carlos. We struggled with him a little bit, but I think we've got him on our ears now. So that one will go into touch and see whether Brighton can get this line out right.
Well, we'll need to. And we'll need to defend this one strongly here because they're in a serious position to take this game out of Brighton's hands.
Well, Ivo will hit Walton. Now that maul is going. None of them have touched them, but that doesn't matter if you just let them go over the line. That is poor decision making from Brighton. They're suggesting that because they didn't engage, that the ball carrier was offside.
The ball was at the back. It got transferred.
Well, let's see whether we can see.
Nathan's not happy about that.
The ball was at the front.
It's been transferred.
Well,
That's ball's not at the front. The ball's been transferred. Who scored the try?
It's
Well, it
not
wasn't
in
the player that
Walton's
took
hands.
the ball, but it wasn't the player who took the ball who scored the try. So
No, I
it's
didn't see who
offside.
came up with it. Hopefully we'll get another look at it, but it definitely wasn't Walton.
Nah, it's a poor decision, that.
It's an interesting one, and we'll see whether we can get an explanation. So as we go, it's Walton at 4. He comes down. There is absolutely no engage from Brighton. The ball has moved.
Lambsam scores the try. So Callum Walton transferred the ball back to Lambsam.
Interesting
So
one
the
and
ball's
controversial somewhat.
I'm happy you've proven wrong there because I'm not 100% on that, but as far as I'm concerned, that ball's been transferred. We've not engaged. He needs to break away from that rolling maul. I reckon the Facebook comments might blow up over that one, mate, with a bit of debate.
I think, yeah, there would be some debate through the week. We'll certainly talk about it on the State of the Union on Tuesday. So that one is sent out to the right. It tried its hardest to come back, and it does. So they will push out. Brighton 29, Burnside 42.
And Andy Collins making use of himself on the scoreboard in retirement from refereeing. And he's doing a great job of it too. A lot of listeners will be very, very aware of Andrew Collins as a referee.
Very, very good point.
Inside.
Brighton might be right. You might be right. But you've got to play the whistle. Like, if he's not blowing, you've got to stop it. It's probably better to give away a penalty than to give away the try. That one pops out the back. Burnside now starting to take the ascendancy and starting to look like they want this a little bit more than Brighton. Gain into midfield.
Oh, great
Big counter ruck. I think that's Groves from the look.
Gotta be.
Just I'll keep
Oh,
an eye because
going with
there's a
it,
couple
yeah.
a bit on it now.
And he'll have him
Groves is
offside.
taking on a couple, and Williams is still there. There's a little bit of Patakate going, you watch that one, I'll watch the rugby.
This, 'cause this is more.
Yeah, they've seemed to have settled down. Plummer sent backwards. Butler will come out. Butler hasn't had his headgear strapped all day.
No.
Finally met by Louis
He's
Fagan.
met strongly too, and the headgear's off.
Ball still in.
So they will go into midfield. They were going back, it was
forward
going
anyway.
forward.
That's here. Where was it?
Oh, bit of cramp.
There we go,
settling
a bit of the early season cramp.
Knock on, no advantage.
Alex Williams, he's had a great start in Brighton colours tonight. As
So
is Jack
Satala
Groves.
is still talking, sorry to interrupt, but going back to Satala, and you're saying he wasn't angry enough about the kick. He's now still talking about the try.
And so he should be.
Kind of just got to put it to bed. If,
No,
if you're now thinking about the try 2-3 minutes down the line,
you do need to move on, mate. But it is
we
easier
get to have
said
another
than
look
done.
at it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely Lamsam who transfers that ball at the back.
Ball's been transferred. Ball's been transferred.
There's a little bit of an engage from there, but
the engagement wasn't there.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if Carlos is saying, at that point where Carlos is saying, no, it's fine, then, I mean, what do you do? you can't
No.
stop it by that stage. So realistically, Carlos got it wrong early, and it would have been really difficult to stop that in that late stage.
they
by
got
the time you
a
engage.
heap of momentum going forward from
So-
it. So that's Alex Williams, who's just suffering, you would think, with a little bit of cramp. I think he was involved in the frank and firm discussion that happened just in front of us.
Yeah, it was good. We like to see a bit of passion in the game, especially late in the game. Like,
As long as it doesn't escalate,
Knock on.
and they'll be best of friends once the final whistle goes anyway. So scrum down to Brighton.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
So finally we got to hear the dulcet tones of Carlos. Free kick
go,
for
free
collapsing. He's had enough. Now they've gone. Plummer will send it. Then it's out the back to Bullower, and Bullower just loses it forward. Boy,
he's still going,
Carlos
though.
says it goes backwards.
Second.
Runs through the middle of two.
Right now, leave it blue.
A little bit of evening there, you think, Dave?
Yeah, an interesting one. Logan Brown over the top to nobody in particular. Butler again will play the caretaker role and clean up, and again he loses that headgear. Then a little dummy, two dummies, and he's down that right-hand side. Then he throws it infield. Cleaned up by Muala Ivao.
Yeah,
Penalty.
taken without the ball. He's got him to take him without the ball, and he's kicked it away.
He's kicked it away.
That's
Lots
all
of people asking
Great individual
Trying
work
to
from
see.
Tremaine here.
where that is. So the headgear goes, the shirt goes, one dummy there. Two dummies there.
And that's the prop there in support.
Good work. I mean, like we talked about it, but we're off and running, and France rolling his way towards that line. Walton is there and slow to move. That's very professional from Walton. Plummer with a show. Plummer under the post. Plummer will score. You would expect the kick to come easily.
Great work from Plummer there. That's what I talked about. He just looks in control. He picks the gaps. He moves through quickly.
He's gone very, very quickly with the drop goal. That is successful. So, 36-42 on the Wojtek scoreboard as we go really into the closing moments of this game. And Plummer just came alive at that point. Lovely little battle between him and Hodgson. Punch and counter punch. Burnside in no hurry, you would think, to take this kickoff.
I wouldn't think so.
Unlike the final last year where they went quickly. Led to that try scored in after time had run out.
Yeah,
but they're in absolutely no hurry for this one.
3 and 15.
So Hodgson restarts. Horrible kick, but Williams does very, very well. Little bit isolated, but the support gets there.
Good take.
Then that will go out to Plummer. Plummer shifts it, almost gave man and ball. Burnside trying to hold it up.
Tommy Roberts been solid tonight.
Groves out. Butler again, who's been dangerous on this right-hand side. He'll send it out to Bullower. Bullower has got space. He will put it on the boot. Bullower versus Walton. Walton just hoofs it out the back. Just
dangerous. Tremaine has come alive in the last 15 minutes.
He has been mercurial down that right-hand side. Really, I would say, because people have got to start thinking about that Anzac Day medalist at the moment, it's a tough call, but I would suggest that Butler is up there. From a Burnside point of view, Lamsam will probably have his name up and around the top of that list as well.
I like Callum Walton's work rate. I think he's really shown some tough and some vigour tonight. I really like the way he's gone about his business. And his partner in crime, Canvas, standing at the back of that scrum there at the moment as well, has had a decent night out too. So, which one of those two is my pick?
He hasn't. He's gone unnoticed, which is kind of what you want from your workhorses. They do the job, but you're not calling them for running big 50-metre runs, but they do the job. They're there when they need to be there.
That's what you want. I'd go as far to say there hasn't been too many standouts from Burnside's side tonight. They've actually worked well. That forward unit for mine has just worked really, really well.
So you reckon they should forge 8 medals and give one to each of the forwards? Their pack has been good today.
They have been.
Ball is out. Walton again kicks around the corner with that left foot.
Is there time for the line out?
We are in red time. Carlos is controlling the time. We haven't been stopping with him, so he's controlling his time. But we are in red time. It would be, well, it's a fair ask, you would think.
It would be another moment of brilliance, and there's a couple of players that can do it. So let's see. We need to win this first. And it's a good line out.
That one is off the top. Then into Plummer. Plummer will step back into the forwards. Logan Brown with a pick and go. Another offload. It's bobbling around, and he's called a knock on, but we've gone back for a penalty.
It's another one, Dave. It's another close ending between these two.
Logan Brown with ball in hand. He will go. That is the Burnside try line. Brighton, that's how far they need to go. Fired out to Williams. Missed Williams. Still bouncing around in there. Can't even see. It's a Burnside ball at the moment, but
Robbie,
Satala is there.
Get back.
Doesn't beat the clean out.
Leave
Leave it blue. Who was the call? Burnside might have hands on this one. Penalty to Burnside. Now they go quick. Too many people on the floor. Too many people on the floor, and he was behind the mark, but they will get to go again. Just see whether, I'll just step out and see whether he talks about time.
Yeah.
No mention of the time. Be close though.
Well, not sure about what the Wojtek clock is saying at the moment is accurate, but
No, we run a running clock,
yep,
so we know we're in red time.
Right. So
that's all we know. We like it that way. It's
absolutely. It's
the drama.
It is a bit of tense time. Carlos hasn't mentioned, so
no,
I'm going to get this
I'm
line
trying to
out.
listen to him to see whether I can hear what's going on.
Stay on the line, please.
Haven't heard anything. I think Carlos is trying to keep the drama. He knows he's on TV as well. So, Mitch Wench, important line-out throw. Has to hit his target. Goes to the front. Oh, it bobbles around. Knock on.
It's the game.
And there is full time. Burnside exact a little bit of a revenge from the grand final in 2017. Take this one out, 42 points to 36. That was an interesting game. Burnside happy with it. You can hear that from the roots, and you can see on your screens how happy they are with it. There's a question about that try, which would be the difference.
Look,
that converted try.
Burnside clearly on top there. Their pack worked really hard all game, and their set piece was the difference in the end. Brighton with a little bit of that X factor, a little bit of time where our open play was excellent and on point, but set piece just wasn't up to scratch, and Burnside really took us to the cleaners there. And well, the result in the end, regardless of a try or no try of that decision, doesn't matter. Burnside on the board with first win of the year, 42-36 over a new Brighton side. But I'll tell you what, mate, to be fair, it wasn't the most exciting game I've ever seen. A few really good moments, but I think there's a lot to work on there. And I think going forward, mate, when we meet out at Parkinson in a couple of weeks' time, I think that one will be pretty exciting, mate.
So the Brighton and Burnside rivalry continues as hot as it was in 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, with the Anzac Day game, we will bring you all the news, all the post-game news through the week, and we will speak to you on Tuesday on the State of the Union podcast, where we will review all of the games from the week. But ladies and gentlemen, 2018 has started with a bang. Burnside winning this one, 42 points to 36. From CME Sports Lighting Rugby Field down at Brighton, my name has been Dave Webb. I was joined by Dan Naylor. Thank you very much for spending your afternoon and your evening with us. We will speak to you again next week, where we will be at Burnside. Ladies and gentlemen, from all of us on all Rugby Union SA and the Spacequake Sports crew, thank you and good night.